months after my mom died, I was obviously pretty sad, and to help cheer me up and get my mind off things, a couple of my teacher friends suggested a road trip. They would pick me up at a family reunion in Colorado, and we would drive from the Grand Canyon all the way up to Yellowstone, seeing all the national parks in between. So they picked me up, and on the first day in the car, the distraction just wasn't working. I was by myself in the back seat with my CD and my journal and my thoughts and desert out the window. It just wasn't working. And as I read through my journal, living the funeral all over again. But there was one detail I'd forgotten. We had received a letter from a tennis friend of my mom's. Now, this tennis friend's husband, George, had passed away about 18 months before my mom did, and my mom would visit every single week as his health was deteriorating. And every single week when she left, he would stop her and say, "Now, Marcia, you know when I die, I'm going to play tennis all day. And then I'm going to be in charge of as many sunsets as they let me make, and you know when you see a really great sunset that it's going to be one of mine. So when you see a great sunset, I want you to stop, and I want you to look up, and I want you to shout, 'Thanks, George.'" And you know, she did it every single time. I heard that story for the first time on a family vacation where she stopped right in the middle of the street in Maui and shouted up at the sunset, "Thanks, George." In the letter, my mom's friend just expressed her gratitude that my mom would take the time to remember her husband, and that now, when she saw a beautiful sunset, she was going to thank my mom and George. So my friends and I finally made it to the Grand Canyon and set up camp, and I went away to the room by myself to just pour my heart out for the first time really in months. And as I finished, and as I looked up, I saw one of the most beautiful sunsets I think I've ever seen. Exactly what I needed to see right then, a sunset from my mom. And the glorious sunsets continued through the rest of that week. And to this day, when I need to know that my mom is still there and that she is aware of me, there is always a spectacular sunset. Now, my second tender mercy moment came a few months later. Still reeling from the death of my mom, Rusty Armour came and let me know that he wanted to get divorced. And that was the true low point. So in the days after announcing to friends and family that we were going to get divorced, I received a phone call from a friend I hadn't heard from in a long time. And as I picked up the phone, he was singing this next song at the top of his lungs in my ear. It's a song I hadn't thought of in a while. I sang it as a solo when I was in BYU's Young Ambassadors. And as I listened to him sing at the top of his lungs, first it made me laugh, and then it made me listen. And then I really started to think and listen to the words of the song, because the lyrics in the song were telling me just what I needed to do right then. What you've got to do is finish what you have begun. I don't know just how, but it's not over till you've won. When you see the storm is coming, see the lightning part the skies, it's too late to run. There's terror in your eyes. What you do then is remember this old thing you heard me say. It's the storm, not you, that's bound to blow away.